What if I told you the housing crisis wasn't an accident, that it wasn't just a market failure or bad luck? What if it was designed? For decades, we've been told the story of supply and demand, of economic cycles, and of the government trying its best to make housing affordable for everyone. But the numbers don't add up. Year after year, prices climb higher, pushing the dream of homeownership further out of reach for millions. We see politicians making promises, launching initiatives, and announcing new plans. Yet the problem only gets worse. Why? The answer is uncomfortable, and it's hidden in plain sight. It's not about incompetence. It's about incentives. Let us peel back the layers and look at the system they want you to see. To understand why your government won't fix the housing crisis, you first need to understand that for the government, high house prices are not a bug. They're a feature. This isn't a modern phenomenon. It started decades ago. After World War II, homeownership was actively promoted as a cornerstone of the American dream, a way to build stable communities and personal wealth. Government-backed mortgages made it easier than ever to buy a home. For a while, it worked. A generation built wealth through their property. But this created a powerful new economic engine. An entire ecosystem grew around rising house prices: banks, real estate agents, construction companies, and, most importantly, the government itself. Here's the critical turning point. As home values grew, they became a massive source of tax revenue for local and state governments through property taxes. Higher home values mean more money for schools, roads, and public services without having to raise tax rates, which is always unpopular with voters. Suddenly, governments had a direct financial stake in keeping property values high. At the same time, homeowners, who are a powerful voting bloc, also wanted their primary asset to appreciate. So you have a powerful alliance, the government and the majority of homeowners, all benefiting from rising prices. This is the core of the problem. Any policy that genuinely lowers house prices would face immense backlash from both of these groups. Think about it. When the government talks about solving the housing crisis, what do they actually propose? They offer things like first-time buyer grants, mortgage assistance programs, or tax credits. But what do all these policies have in common? They don't lower the price of houses. They just help people borrow more money to afford the existing high prices. They are demand-side solutions. They're pouring gasoline on the fire. By giving buyers more purchasing power, these policies actually push prices even higher, benefiting existing owners and the government's tax revenue. It's a feedback loop. They create the illusion of helping, while actually reinforcing the system that caused the problem in the first place. Let's look at the data. In major cities across the world, from London to Sydney to Vancouver, we see the exact same pattern. Governments talk a big game about affordability, but their actions tell a different story. Zoning laws, for example, are a huge barrier. These local regulations often restrict the construction of new, denser housing like apartment buildings. Who supports these laws? Existing homeowners who don't want their neighborhood to change or their property values to drop. And who do local politicians listen to? The voters who are already there. So, even when there's a clear need for more supply, the political will to actually build it is often missing. The system is protecting itself. We're also seeing the financialization of housing on a global scale. Large investment firms and corporations are buying up thousands of single-family homes, turning them into rental properties. Why? Because they see housing not as a place for people to live, but as a stable, profitable asset class, like stocks or bonds. Government policies have made this incredibly attractive. Low interest rates and tax loopholes benefit large investors far more than the average family trying to buy their first home. The government could crack down on this, but that would risk spooking the market and lowering asset values, something they are incentivized to avoid at all costs. The game is rigged, and it's not in your favor. So, where does this leave us? Trapped in a cycle where the cost of a basic human need is treated like a speculative asset. The government isn't a neutral referee trying to help. It's an active player in the game with a vested interest in keeping prices high. This wasn't a secret plot hatched in a dark room. It's the logical outcome of a system of incentives that has evolved over decades. The problem isn't that the government has failed to fix the housing crisis. The problem is that the system is working exactly as it was designed to. So, what can we take away from all this? First, stop waiting for the government to ride in on a white horse and make housing cheap. Their fundamental incentives are aligned against it. Real change won't come from the top down. Second, understand that most government solutions are actually demand-side subsidies that make the problem worse. They help you pay the high price. They don't lower it. Finally, recognize that the interests of homeowners and the interests of those trying to buy a home are now in direct conflict. This is the new economic divide of our time. The uncomfortable truth is that for housing to become truly affordable for a new generation, the value of the single biggest asset for millions of current homeowners would have to fall. Politically, that's almost unthinkable. So we are left with an open question. Can a system that benefits so immensely from high housing costs ever truly be reformed? Or are we destined to watch as the dream of a home becomes a luxury for the few, rather than a right for the many? The next time a politician promises to fix housing, ask them one simple question: how will your plan affect the price? Their answer will tell you everything you need to know. Thanks for watching. If this opened your eyes, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the systems that shape our world.